last video, we learned how to create variables and place values into them. Now we're going to learn about the comparison operators so we can actually compare the values of our variables. In our video about types, we learned about the Boolean types of true and false. Now by themselves, they're not particularly interesting, but they become very important when we want to compare variables in our programs and apply different behavior based on those results. Besides typing the literal true and false values, Booleans can be created by using the comparison operators. Let's take a look. So let's say I have two variables. We'll say capacity equals 100 and people equals 75. Now let's take a look at the greater than operator. Here we're saying the variable overbooked equals this expression here. And this is using the greater than operator, which is the closing angle brace or shift period on your keyboard. So here we're saying people is greater than capacity. Now if we look at the actual values behind these variables, we see that people is 75 and capacity is 100. And so since 75 is not greater than 100, this expression returns false. So if we look at overbooked, we'll see that its value is false. Similarly, there is a less than operator. In this case, we're seeing if there are vacancies. And since people is less than capacity, this expression returns true, and vacancies will be set to the value true. Now there are also greater than or equal to and less than or equal to operators, which work just like the greater than and less than operators, but they also return true if the two values on each side of the operand are equal. So for instance, all of these expressions are true. 100 is greater than or equal to 100 because the two sides are equal, so this will return true. It'll also return true on this line because 200 is greater than 100, and the less than or equal to works the same way. They are equal, so they also return true, and since 50 is less than 100, it'll also return true. We can also compare if two values are the same by using the equal to operator, which is three equal signs. So for example, var at capacity equals people is equal to capacity. So here the at capacity variable will store the variable true if people is the same as capacity. Otherwise, it'll store the value false. Since 75 does not equal 100, at capacity will be false. Now the triple equal sign means the two operands in the expression are strictly the same. That means they both have the same value and they both have the same type. There is another operator called the double equals operator in JavaScript, which does not check for a strict equality. Since JavaScript is not strongly typed, in some cases a string that contains only a number may act like a number, and a number may act like a string. Now that's convenient sometimes, but it can be confusing in other situations. Let's take a look at some examples of how type changing, or type coercion, can cause confusion with the double equals operator. If we use the double equals operator, the string 1 will actually equal the number 1. So this expression would return true. Now if we use the triple equals, 1 triple equals 1, that will actually return false. That's because the triple equals not only looks for the value, but the type of the value in the expression. Now let's look at another little problem with the double equals operator. So 0, when we use the double equal operator, will actually equal the empty string. And 0 will also equal the string 0. Now remember, neither of these will return true if we use the triple equal operator. Now this may not seem like a big problem, but if we look at this last expression, the empty string equals the string 0, this returns false. While this may not immediately look like a problem because obviously the empty string is not the same as the string 0, if we look at the transitive property, we see that the empty string equals 0, and 0 also equals the string 0. By the transitive property, the string 0 should equal the empty string, and it does not. So if we use the triple equals, we get a more strict equality and more clarity as to what our comparisons are doing. One final operator we have is the not equals operator, and that's denoted with the exclamation point and the equals equals. So this is used if we were to say 100 does not equal 200, and this will return true. It's just like the triple equals, except that it will return true if the two sides of the operator are different. Now if we did 100 not equals 100, that would return false. So let's go over our operators again. There's the greater than operator, there's the less than operator, there's the greater than or equal to operator, and less than or equal to operator. With three equal signs, we have the is strictly equal to operator, which returns true if both sides are the same type and the same value. And then there is strictly not equal to, which is the exclamation point and two equal signs. We also took a look at the is equal to with two equal signs and the is not equal to with the exclamation point and the equal sign. These act a little bit differently from the strictly equals in that they'll return true in some cases when the values are the same but the types are different. So now we should have a grasp on variables, types, and the basic operators in JavaScript. In future chapters, we'll be taking a look at how to apply this knowledge to create our own programs.